Hello, my name is Pendleton Ward. And Osborne.
Like a sugar.
Muto. It's Jesse Moynihan. This is Herpich. And welcome to a special commentary where Jesse's gonna tell a ghost story.
All right. Okay, I'll tell the story of. Did you guys hear about the story? I did a thing about where I already told the story about when me and Brandon lived in a house that had a poltergeist. You guys have heard that story, right?
You should just be your best story.
Yeah, pick the best one.
True rewind.
Okay, This is my best story. Well, okay. So I lived in Philadelphia. This was a bunch of years ago, and my friend Brandon, he moved out of Boston to come live with us, and it was myself, my brother, and Brandon. We all moved into this house in West Philadelphia, and I found the house, and it was really cheap, but it was in a really dangerous neighborhood, and it was sort of scary to live there a little bit. And when we moved in, the first thing that happened was it was a 3-bedroom house, and there was a basement we were going to record music in, and we were trying to set up the basement. And the first thing that happened was that on the second floor, we would be hanging out in Brandon's room at night, and we would hear this scratching noise coming from the bathroom, and we'd always be like, "Oh, what's that scratching noise?" And we'd go over to the bathroom, and it would stop happening, and this happened for a bunch of nights in a row. And I would sit there. Sometimes I would just sit there with a chair in front of the bathroom, just waiting for that scratching noise, and it never would happen. But as soon as I left, it would start up again. And I thought maybe it was a mouse, something like that, because mice are pretty smart about knowing when people are around. Anyway, so that was the first thing that was sort of put this unease in the house, and I always felt weird in the house.
Did you talk about it? Did you bring it, or did everyone notice it?
Everyone noticed it. We were all like, "What is that?" And it felt sort of spooky, I remember. And so what started happening was Brandon never fully moved into his room, so he had all these boxes in his room, and with stuff in it that he would just live out of these cardboard boxes, because I don't think he liked living there, and he felt uneasy about the neighborhood and the house. Just everything felt sort of wrong. So he started hearing this thwacking sound, like someone hitting his box with a coat hanger. It sounded like that's how he described it to me. He's like, "It sounds like someone keeps hitting one of my boxes with a coat hanger," and he's like, "But I never see it." And so that culminated in this night where I was...
What? And there wasn't like a draft or like a vent nearby?
No. It just sounded like whap, like someone hitting something really loud. And he'd turn around and be like, "What is that?" It sounded like someone hit my cardboard box with a...
Or like a tree outside?
No, it was definitely in the room. And so one night I had headphones on, and I heard Brandon screaming, hey, Jesse, come here. And then I was like, what is it? And he's like, I heard the noise, and I turned around and I saw my cardboard box, the flap of the box was moving, like it had just been hit. And I was like, I don't know what to say. And he was like, I was just playing video games, and the video games were still on. And as we were talking about, I was like, this is getting like kind of weird, like you're making me feel tense. And as we were talking about, the TV just turned off by itself, and we kind of laughed and whatever. So all this stuff kept happening. Brandon would wake up at night feeling like he was being held down by someone, paralyzed, the sleep paralysis.
When that TV turned off, did you all believe that the house was haunted, or did you think
at that point it was starting to become a thing? Like,
did y'all believe in ghosts though?
I always believed in ghosts.
But why would you laugh then when the TV turned off?
Because it was ridiculous that we were talking about the ghosts, and it was like a nervous laugh. Like, okay.
All right, okay. So he was paralyzed in bed?
Paralyzed in bed. He said that he levitated. I don't know. So one night he also said that he was laying in bed, and the shadow from the tree outside was starting to scare him. So he was about to go shut the blind, and the blind just fell by itself. And
wait, he didn't even touch the blind?
no, he was like about to get up, and the blind went down, and he was like, "Thank you," and he like went, put his blanket over his head, and went to sleep. And another time, Justin and I was sleeping in my room. My brother was sleeping downstairs, and we heard Brandon screaming. And he was like, you guys, you can't do this to me. Like, it's not funny. And we both ran, and we were like, what happened? What's going on? And he was like, one of you guys stop playing jokes on me. Like, you guys were banging on my bedroom door. That's not funny. And we were like, we weren't doing that. That never happened. And
I'm feeling pretty
also another thing is that we thought that there was a dead body in the basement, and that's where this was coming from.
I'm glad we can feel this way
because my friend Nate was in the basement just pounding the ground with a pole for some reason, and his pole went through the ground, and so it was hollow underneath, and it raised this area of dust that was the size of a human body. So we thought that maybe they had re-cemented over and buried someone, and we were so paranoid at that point that we thought I called the police to come check it out, but the police didn't care. They didn't. At first I called the FBI, and the FBI didn't. They were like, dude, just call your local police. So I called the local police. I was like, hey, I think there's a dead body buried in the basement. And they were like, we're not going to come to your house. And I was like, all right, thanks for being helpful. So I'm trying to say this as fast as possible so that the story will be over by the time this episode's over. So then and then one day we were washing the walls in the basement. This is the other reason why we thought there was a dead body in the basement. We were spraying the walls down because they were dirty, and underneath the dirt, someone had painted on the wall, "Help me."
Wait, y'all thought it said "help me," right? It was.
I don't know. It's been so long. My memory is that.
Wasn't it scratched into the wall?
No, it was like written in paint, like faded paint. "Help me" on the wall.
Our spirits must
So that made Brandon like really crazy, and he was flipping out. So Brandon would sleep in my room. He didn't like to sleep in his room anymore, and I didn't like sleeping in that house by myself. And so the climax of the story is that one night it was mostly terrorizing Brandon, whatever this was, and it was nighttime. My brother and I and Brandon were all sitting in the living room talking about what we were going to do about this ghost. We were like, maybe we should get an exorcist. Maybe we should. I don't know what we can do to keep living in this house because it seems like it's getting worse and worse. And as we were talking about that, we heard an explosion, a really loud explosion, and all the lights went out in the house. And we all screamed and ran for the door, tripping over each other. And my brother, I remember, grabbed nunchucks off the door, he used to hang his nunchucks on the door handle because we were scared of robbers. And he was swinging his nunchucks around, and we all ran into the street screaming. And then we found out that the whole block, the power had gone out.
Was he good at nunchucks, or was he the kind of guy that just hits himself with nunchucks a lot?
Justin used to be really into nunchucks, and he used to practice them in the street, like in our neighborhood. He would stand out in the middle of the street,
wearing like a pink sweat
without his shirt on, in tight jeans.
Yeah.
My love.
And he would practice nunchucks in the street. I think he also thought he wanted our neighbors to like us. So he thought that would be one way to do it. Was if they saw him practicing nunchucks. Anyway, so Brandon was convinced that was the ghost telling us we had to move out of the neighborhood. So the next day I called the landlord and I was like, we're moving out. And she was like, why? And I was like, because it's haunted here. And she's like, all right. And that's the end of that story.
It's a good one, man.
Is Brandon? I got a question.
Yeah.
Is Brandon the same guy that tricked you into thinking you were possessed for like a year?
He tricked me into thinking that demons were following me for a year. Yeah.
And that was like a big prank that he was playing on you.
Yes.
Okay. Just gonna setting the facts straight here. Just curious.
You sound like a skeptic.
Anyway, Ghost Princess was a story that I wanted to do.
So that's why you don't like softy
Originally
cheeks.
involved Magic Man.
Oh wow.
And I wanted to explore the idea of 50th Dead World and stuff. This story evolved a lot. We had to really talk it through for a long time. It changed. I wrote a bunch of different drafts of it, and we finally settled on this idea of having two stories, one about Ghost Princess and one about Magic Man, as two separate episodes.
You sure you're ready for
So,
this, man?
Yeah.
And it came out like this. That's what happened.
La la la.
Well, Brandon did have me convinced that demons were following me, and for a year. And
I think it's possible that this story you just told was a giant prank that Brandon played on you.
no, this is definitely true, and the terror was real.
What?
But he could have moved the box by himself. He could have painted on the wall and covered it.
Right. If this were a movie with a twist,
I'm just saying his credibility is.
right. His credibility is not the best.
What's the boy who cried wolf? Yeah. Wait, did he prank you after or before this?
Before.
Oh.
Only once.
Oh wait, no, it was after. I'm sorry.
Oh.